All right, guys, welcome to the Give It Podcast, a podcast for blurs, for nerds. If you have a fandom, you are most certainly welcome here. I'm your host, the most Black Spartan. Of course, the man to my left, to your right, actually has. Oh wow, you have nothing this week. What happened, Joe?
What are you talking about? Still got Tiny URL show with Guy Joe.
Yeah, but usually I'm either a loss for words or you usually get me with something.
Advertisement needs advertisement.
Well,
Here, I'll just judge you using the SPD license.
You already judged me. I was already guilty. But anyway.
No, we got off innocent, that last one.
Was I innocent?
We got off innocent.
Oh, cool. Well, together we are the Give It Podcast, guys. Much like the WWE of old, we do have choice language, but nothing too vulgar. At the same time, there may be things that might
My
be
choice language is English.
There it is.
There you go.
There it is. And of course, there may be things that might be shown that might be too intense for younger viewers. So viewer discretion is advised. Aside from that, welcome. So, not a lot this week, but we do have a few things, especially on the video game side of the world, because we're not that far off from the launch of Tekken 8. And well, in Bandai fashion, they still keep giving us gifts. Much like the opening movie for Tekken 8. If you haven't seen it, well, this should be interesting.
Destruction. Our destiny is my connection now. A feeling in my soul. It's beyond the reach of most mere mortals. So remember, no surrender. My defining moment. I stand. Overcome my past. Every day forever. No surrender. No surrender.
Coração ardente, mas cabeça fria.
All right, guys. So that was the opening cinematics for Tekken 8. Of course, as you saw with season 1, you will get Eddie Gordo as a playable character as the first pack going out. Why do they always give the black guy the weirdest haircut / locks look I've ever seen. But Joe, any thoughts on the opening schematic, sir?
So this is probably the first time we've had an attract mode in I don't know how long. Also, the opening is very reminiscent of Tekken 5. Yeah, that is a big talk about in a lot of the communities is why is everybody getting a Killmonger side dreads all of a sudden? It seems to be like the only hairstyle. And the odd thing is they show his concept art where he has like dreads and like another ponytail of dreads on top of it, which looks so much better.
You and Safari said the same thing. You and Safari both said the same thing. The Killmonger swoop strikes again.
Like, I am not black, clearly, but even I understand that I can only choose the traditional Caesar or come over hairstyle so many times in a video game before it starts becoming annoying. Like literally right now, it seems like if you are a black video game character,
you get the Killmonger look.
Only the Killmonger. Like Miles Morales went from his standard faded buns to the Killmonger swoop in Spider-Man 2.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm going to play Tekken 8 when it comes out, but of all the hairstyles you can give Eddie Gordo,
I made a different choice for the games coming out next Friday. We'll look at that trailer in a moment.
Oh, yeah, because I did see that. But that was the only thing, because, again, with Tekken 8 coming out next week, they also revealed another character that will also be playable come the 26th.
Ready for the next battle! Tekken 8! New challenger!
Possesses power. I will hold it in.
Safina!
Your fate is already decided.
Sigillo è arrivato al limite.
And as you can see, guys, that was the Zafina reveal for that one. Apparently, she has a hand problem. Gotta leave it at that. But Joe, any thoughts on that?
She is holding back the power of the giant mega chicken from that one episode, from that one thing of Tekken. It was a chicken, I tell you, a giant chicken.
Azazel's power, which is interesting. But it looks like Tekken 8 is going to be great, guys. Come January 26th, you can still pre-order it. But again, move right along, guys, to cover Like a Dragon, because I have not played Infinite Wealth. Joe has. I've only played the Man Who Erased His Name, which I love. Oh, you haven't played it. I'm sorry.
It comes out the 26th as well.
Sorry, forgot about that.
I'm playing the man who erased his name right now.
Oh, I love that. I love that Like a Dragon. That is fun to play. But Infinite Wealth also comes out on the 26th. And if you're not sure what it's about, Joe, any words when we get the trailer?
This is in the English. This is the English dub trailer that got released a little bit ago. I will not be playing it in English. If they are all Japanese people, I will play it in Japanese. A good bit of Hawaiian people still speak both Hawaiian and Japanese.
True.
Also, this may also have what is that game with the people with the island and the building of the houses and Tom Nook?
Animal Farm?
Yes. This has Animal Crossing elements into it now. Because Yakuza 8 is but just a Dragon Quest game if you don't understand it. Or Like a Dragon is just Dragon Quest. With jobs, so many job variants, so many mini games. It is the only way you can play Virtual Fighter 5 now easier.
Oh, wow. Virtual Fighter 5. Anyway, here's the trailer for Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth.
Well, lately, our old friend, the Seiryu clan's been acting mighty suspicious.
It's a pleasure to meet you, Asuka-san.
I'm sending you to Hawaii. There's someone there who wants to meet you. It's your mother, Akane-san.
What the hell's going on? Freeze. Kiryu-san? High time you met the head of the Barracudas. Name's Dwight.
Barracudas are after me. Akane-san. They're after her too, you know.
You seen this?
This is someone else. Anjo.
You trying to tell me there are Yakuza in Hawaii?
The head of Kazuma Kiryu. What better trophy than the head of a dragon?
I really, really need your help, like right now. I'd take a bullet for a butt any day. Take cover!
You can always turn a new leaf, but you can't turn back the clock. All you get is the precious time you're given. You ready for this, Kasuga?
Let's do this.
All right, guys. So that was the trailer for Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. I'm definitely playing it. But Joe, anything you want to add to that?
I like that we have a boss fight against Danny Trejo, who's named Dwight, but still attacks us with machetes.
I was going to point that out. Machete isn't Yakuza. That's still funny. But no, that looks like it's going to be fun. Also coming out on January 26th. But the next thing, which I have to ask Joe about because I have yet to watch it, but the first couple of minutes for Garo look interesting as hell. So before I play this trailer for what's Garo about, Joe?
So Garo is a tokusatsu show, but it is an adult tokusatsu show. Not that kind of adult. Don't get your mind wrong. This is done by Kita Emiya, who's a horror thing. I don't know if it's the same Emiya-san who does Resident Evil.
Mm-hmm.
So it's about an order of knights that fights demons, and usually it's fairly bloody and whatnot. But since it's on YouTube regularly, this is Kamen ZOJ video games. Oh no, this is the same Kita Emiya. So he has done notable works. Garo, all the Garos have been by him. He also has done video games such as designs for Clock Tower, Dual Heroes, Onimusha 2, Onimusha 3. He just does a lot of work. Nice. He also he was a director for Mobile Cop Jiban and Jetman and Zoolander. So we have Mighty Morphin Power Rangers to thank for Kita Emiya. But no, in all things, this is a horror-based tokusatsu involving magical knights, all of which are kind of in a class system where Iron Knights are the lowest and the Golden Knight Garo is pretty much top tier and end-all, be-all. If he pulls the sword, the game is over. But we are focusing this particular show on an Iron Knight.
Gotcha. Also, the show is available on YouTube as of right now.
Yes.
I think you said, Joe, it's 2 episodes now.
2 episodes in.
Okay. So in case you're wondering, here's the trailer.
よく来てくれました黄金騎士道外龍が
私とクレアシティに来てください。
破滅の門が開くだと。
破滅の門には人の因果を増大させ闇へと誘う力があると言われています。
俺たちの手で破壊しよう。
やるしかない。
貴様を倒しに来た。
鋼の鎧、白羽相馬。
俺は誰とも組むつもりはない。
相馬はきっと父親の帰りを待っているんだと思います。
迷宮アリビスに行き破滅の門を封印する。
剣を持て。答えは戦いの中にしかない。
闇よりいでし貴様の因果、光を受けて闇に帰れ。ガロ、鋼をつく者。
仕事のしがいがあるよ。
道外優雅の新たなる物語が始まる。
Okay, so that was a trailer for Garo, guys. I get literally Devil May Cry vibes from it, but like we said, it is available on YouTube, the first 2 episodes for you to watch. Joe, anything else about Garo you want them to know about?
The armor is practical effects, save for some of the more spectacular stuff, but that is actually on set, that full suit of armor.
And he's got a move in it. Jesus. But
I don't know. The suit actors they got in that industry are nothing more than superhuman.
Fair enough. But speaking of things that we can actually talk about that actually give us hope, and forgive me for my voice, guys, it's kind of going in and out, so I apologize. But Daredevil Born Again news. We find out that Karen Page and Foggy Nelson will be returning back into the show for Born Again. Right now, it is a rumor. And I say rumor very heavily because we have yet to actually find other news to support this. So with that being said, guys, don't get me wrong. It's great that it's happening because you really can't have Daredevil without those two. And the Netflix show made it worth it. So to me, it's a great idea. But Joe, what about you?
I wish we had more stronger connections on this one, but it seems like this rumor actually may be substantiated because a bit larger amount of the comic news groups are actually posting this up, so this one may be true. For those that didn't really like Karen Page, people, if you read the books, you don't have long with this woman anyway, so don't worry about it. But the actress herself is doing a fantastic job. And, I mean, Foggy Nelson's actor... We've been watching that man since he was in the Mighty Ducks. He deserves our respect because he will hurt you with the knuckle puck.
A lot of people don't look
Remember,
at Foggy.
He is one of the Basham brothers.
And that's the one thing that's always loved. I love to point that out. I said, it's amazing how a Bash brother became an attorney. But I digress because I love the Mighty Ducks. But again, right now, it's still a rumor. With Born Again coming out, we're still another year off from it, but you can't help but want to be excited. You really can, especially after Echo. After we got to see a little bit of Daredevil and a lot of Kingpin and Echo, you can't help but be excited about Daredevil. You really can't.
I'm still thinking about that fadeaway jump, fadeaway jump through the weapons rack. It's like,
yeah,
that's the exact key point. I was like, that's Daredevil.
That's still funny though. But
I also like that it has been confirmed that he has a hard time looking people in the eye because of how long he has to play being blind. Charlie Cox just has this really thing where his eyes just do not look at you while he's looking at you.
That man is full on committed, is what that is. But again, with Daredevil Born Again, it's still good news right now. Like I said before, still a rumor. Yeah, we figure it's going to be confirmed eventually, but with that being said, we're looking forward to it. Move right along, guys. Xbox did have a developer presentation. If you were a fan of Avowed, if you were a fan of Oxide, Avowed, Meta, they look all great. But the one thing that I was interested in was how Indiana Jones, the Indiana Jones game is looking, considering the fact it's being made by Machine Games. It's also being led by the producer of Fallout. And I'm going to be honest, for all those that haven't seen the trailer, I'm going to play this first, and I want your opinions of it. Here's Indiana Jones and the Great Circle.
Let me tell you what you are missing, Dr. Jones. While you were playing your pointless game, I was playing you. You're wondering if maybe you should have built yourself a life of meaning instead of ending up here, dead and forgotten in the sands of Africa.
Myths, history, just different ways to interpret the past. Thousands of years of humanity's thoughts and beliefs, scattered and buried, just waiting to be found.
You can't just run away from your problems, Indiana.
Watch me. Throughout history, mankind has built sites of great spiritual significance. If you were to draw a line through these ancient sites around the globe, you get a perfectly aligned circle. I've had run-ins with these guys before. Trust me, it ain't a walk in the park.
Okay, then. Let's see if you can keep up.
What do you mean if I could keep up? Patron of the fallen angels, protector of the Chukwuemani, the Great Circle. You have any idea how old that was?
And that, guys, was Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. That was the gameplay reveal trailer. As of right now, no official release date has been put forward. But Joe, I'm gonna start with you. What'd you think?
I mean, it's Xbox exclusive, so I won't get to play it. So, I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is, well, I'll just go play Nathan Drake in the corner with Lara Croft, and I'll be happy. I'll be able to shoot about the same amount of Nazis as anybody else. I just won't have a whip or Harrison Ford.
But just from a visual standpoint, do you think it adds up to what we think an Indiana Jones game should be?
I mean, sure, it's what most people want is young Indiana. I mean, no offense to the last couple movies, but we're not really here for old Indiana Jones. We want young Indiana Jones. We want old Kei Kwan. We don't want the kid going, Dr. Jones, Dr. Jones. That's the whole thing. I'm Japanese. I get to do this, even though he's Chinese. No one can punish me on this. I'm there for it. It's absolutely brilliant. I love the fact that they're doing this. FPS Uncharted with the twist. It has potential.
Yep.
That man is correct.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm just gonna go ahead and chime in on my side. I love it. If this is what I expected this to be Uncharted with a whip, I'm okay with that. Uncharted was Indiana Jones before we had it. I can live with that. But the fact that they really are using the whip, they're focusing a lot more on puzzles because let's be honest, that's most of Indiana Jones movies was solving puzzles. As far as the gameplay and the combat, it looks exactly how it should play. I'm digging it. I think that Machine Games may actually get this right.
I'm wondering if it zooms out on third person on big dynamic moments because we did see some third person moments too.
Oh, and the developer they did mention that it does go from third person to first. So it does switch from third to first person whenever on big sequences, I should say.
Okay,
so you're all right.
That's what I kind of figured. No, like I said, this is great. I'm with Harrison Ford doing the voice work.
Yeah.
Hands down, seems like it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm just looking forward to it. I'm getting two things I've always wanted. I'm getting Black Myth Wukong. I'm definitely playing that game, and an Indiana Jones game that I'm looking forward to. Looking forward to it as well. But from the PS5 side, guys, we also did get a trailer for the next part of the Final Fantasy VII Remake series, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. And yes, if you're wondering, we're still wondering about that question. Here's the trailer.
What happened to this place?
It was Sephiroth.
It can't be.
He wants to finish what he started and rule over the planet.
You coming?
Way ahead of you!
We have to help them.
Let's get to work.
You are truly a model soldier.
We can handle this.
I will reclaim our world.
And as you can see, guys, that was the trailer for Rebirth. Will be available at the end of the month with the exclusives, of course, the PS5 only. So again, I have a goal in mind, but I'm looking forward to it. The thing about it, I will say this, guys. Oh, what did Tafari say? It reminds me a bit of Dying Light, which was the first first person, but they didn't actually render the MC in case. Yep, I remember that. And they're still in CD1 material of the OG game. They're going to milk this like Kingdom Hearts. I'm going to buy each one. I am the same freaking way.
So I'm going to argue that they can't milk this like Kingdom Hearts 1 because it hasn't been 10 years between 1 and 2.
Fair. You're right that there is that little caveat. That is, it hasn't been 10 years. That's kind of fair. But I'm looking freaking forward to it. Now, I will say this: as Final Fantasy fans, you saw what happened in Remake. There were some slight changes. Expect the same in Rebirth. That's all I'm going to sit there and say. Expect the freaking same. But
so they are showing us stuff we know.
Yeah.
But you notice how we know that Zack's alive in the other timeline, but we haven't seen jack squat about that side of the game?
Pretty much.
They're not going to show us anything about that side of the game.
Of course
They're
not.
only going to show us all the stuff we know about the Golden Saucer and all that stuff first, and then the other half of the game is going to be unknown to us. Because we got to remember, in this game, Sephiroth's plan is to undo everything he did, meaning he can't kill Aerith. Because if he does, then the Hope Materia gets taken out of her.
Pretty much.
So something's gonna happen before then.
Oh, there's gonna be a twist somewhere. We know that. There's a twist somewhere in Rebirth, but we'll find out at the end of the month.
Just as far as just play Crisis Core for the first time in Pain. You don't know what that's like unless you played actual Crisis Core on the PSP.
Well,
he got all the updates and quality of life improvements of Crisis Core on this revisit. I played the original.
I kind of forgot about how the mechanics need to be updated heavily. Oh wait, well, he said that's what I played it on. He played on PSP. He understands.
He understands the pain.
Because I was gonna say, if you played on PSP,
does he understand the pain of Dirge Cerberus?
I hope he skipped it. I skipped. That's the one Final Fantasy game I skipped completely was Dirge Cerberus, just because how bad it was. But again, guys, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth will be coming out at the end of the month. January seems to be a very productive day for video games. But Capcom has also decided that they're going to drop a trailer too, because as Joe has pointed out, you've taken a break from Street Fighter 6 online play for a while, right?
Just a little bit. I go back every now and then. I'm waiting until Ed drops to see what he's going to be like. Mostly also because I'm really tired of hearing everybody just like talk about Akuma. It's like, yes, he will come out, and you will still get throat looped by Ken, same way as everybody else does.
And
He'll
Tafari,
just be an
you're
old
right.
man.
Oh yeah. Now also Tafari's right. The Midgar Zolan fight, yeah, that's gonna be something else.
No, it's in the trailer. It was that giant snake they were fighting for a hot second.
Oh, it looks slightly modified. Okay, so it was in the trailer. That's gonna be interesting. But I'm glad you brought up Ed, because that's actually the teaser trailer for the next character in Street Fighter 6.
Buttered toast.
The next stop is Beat Square Station.
Bring it on.
We're not finished!
I'm not gonna be anyone's pawn. You hear me? Show up again and I'll punch a hole through you.
And guys, that was the trailer for Ed. As you can see, guys, he will be available in February for Street Fighter 6. Joe, your first look at him, what do you think?
He is probably going to come out at Capcom Cup. Visual thoughts, I kind of agree with the FGC community. Kind of reminds me of Dante from DMC. I'm okay with that too. If this trailer teases anything from his move list, he is going to have a dash in punch, dash in and a dash out. We may have probably seen his level 1 or possibly his level 2. He's got his grasper, which hopefully will have an easier time of triggering. Because that was the one part about Ed I couldn't figure out, is how to get that yank back mechanic on him. Because I think he was part of one of the V-trigger abilities. I could be wrong on that. I only dabbled in Ed, but not for very long. But this one, I'll give him a shot, because Street Fighter 6 is always fun, regardless of what so many people like to say. You guys, it's like skill issue. I mean, I've no one to talk. I at least just don't complain. I just learn. It's like I lose, I learn.
Yeah.
I don't cry about it.
But what's Safari say? The rage that came through when you realized you could just ran past the snake. Yeah. Yeah. We all learned somehow.
The other interesting thing about that trailer that I noticed is that those are not Maggear grunts. Those guys have Shadowloo's insignias on their boxes.
Right.
So someone wants him badly, because he is supposed to be a vessel for Bison, but
Mhm.
His Bison soul was destroyed in 5, so what has he got that they want?
Ed is here to help you forget about Suicide Squad. You know, Tafari, Tafari brings that up about Suicide Squad, and that's kind of what I'm going into next.
Oh yeah,
Because
that.
for all those that don't know, there was a alpha test or a beta test, they call it, for Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Now, again, the NDA has ended, which means that those that have actually played the beta can now give their opinions. So I'm just going to read a few because there's kind of a lot. This guy says, realize they aren't going for superhero verisimilitude. Is that a word? Instead of making it a looter shooter, third-person shooter with DC Comics flavor, Traverso really worked for me, and I felt rewarded for figuring out their systems. Found myself playing a lot just because it was fun on the sticks. Another person said, better than expected, was very well polished. Only think I ran into one bug in several hours. Co-op worked well and didn't feel tackled on. Gear is really the only concern I had. All seemed kind of the same. Only had access to low-level stuff. Another individual played the story, remembered none. Played the gameplay, remember it being bad. Movement was clunky, and the shooting wasn't very enjoyable either. And I'll read one more. The characters are great. The gameplay is fun in the short time I played, but questions remain over how long it can hold people's attention and if the game will be able to avoid the same slip-ups that other live service games have had. That being said, with Kill the Justice League, because they are moving full steam ahead on this, because of the opinions of those that have played the beta, does it kind of make you want to play it? Or do you still feel like, no, I can leave it?
So I looked at some of the gameplay trailer, and the first thing that came to my mind is this will make a great Hulk Ultimate Destruction game.
Damn.
It's just a big, giant city, and you were just running around. It was with King Shark. And I'm like, can we just slot Hulk in instead? And I run around the city with car boxing gloves rather than play any of these characters and just run around fighting like the Squadron Supreme.
Yeah.
Not just have Hulk fighting the Squadron Supreme instead.
The thing about, and I hate to say this because I like Rocksteady, and I think Kill the Justice League, I may be indifferent. I still want to give it a shot. I still want to see if it's worth playing, just because, first off, we don't really get a lot of Suicide Squad games. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, this is the first attempt at a Suicide Squad game, isn't it? If I remember right.
The standalone, maybe?
Yeah, I think it's as far as a standalone Suicide Squad. I want to say this is the only one in existence. But if anybody knows differently in the comments, please tell me, because again, we want to be right. But because I believe it's the first one, that makes me want to try it. I mean, Rocksteady is usually pretty good about video games. And I know we've covered this in the past about Kill the Justice League. We covered the news about them going live service, then taking it away, then giving everybody guns, which we didn't understand concerning the fact of Boomerang and King Shark. I can understand Harley Quinn. I can understand Deadshot. But King Shark with a weapon just doesn't seem right, considering the fact that he is a weapon. And Captain Boomerang, literally in the name, has weapons. So, but I still want to give it a shot. What do you say, Tafari? The Warner Brother touch is so toxic. The Rocksteady heads knew the reputation is ranked and just started a whole new company. Yeah, pretty much. But I don't know. I still want to give it a shot. Have they learned their lesson? Maybe. Is it worth the $60? Is it worth the $60 to try it out? Probably not. That might be a GameFly situation. I'm not going to lie to you. But what are you going to say, Joe?
My biggest worry is that this is not going to do well.
Okay.
And as a result, they are going to use this game, and the way to push sales through is like, do you want to have Kevin Conroy's last last vocal performance, this is the only way you're going to get it, because remember, this is the last thing he voiced as Batman before passing away.
That's true. That was his last
And
vocal.
I don't want them to sully his name by putting out a mediocre game and then pointing to us like, if you want Kevin Conroy, this is the only way to do it.
I would hope that they don't, but you might. I mean, you're probably right. They might try to use that man's last performance as a cash grab. I hope they don't, but it's kind of leaning to because it's Warner Brothers. They just might.
Yeah, are they above it? Absolutely not. Like what they did with George Sears in the Flash movie.
That is very true. But I still want to give it a shot. Not the nearly $70 level. I can't see myself spending $70 on a game that I'm probably going to be angry about. I'd rather game fly it or just wait till it becomes in another form. But that's just me. But speaking of other games, though, this other game reminds me of Turok so much that I think that we'll never get another Turok game, although I really think we should, considering with today's graphics and whatnot. But this next trailer that we have called Sun and Bone, again, I want you guys' opinions on it. I really do. But before I do that, Tafari would say, I hope I'm wrong, but to say you want to continue the Archiverse in a video game where you get to kill the heroes ain't a good selling point. I mean, you're right. If you got those that play as villains, I see your point on that. But you do got some people out there that would want a whole Joker game. So there's that too. But I don't know. Like I said, I'm on the fence about it. I can't see myself spending full price on Kill the Justice League. I was at first, but like I said before, rather wait for a GameFly or another situation for that to come up. But you're right. Not a good selling point if you're playing as the bad guys. But there's a niche for everybody. But before I play this trailer, Joe, anything else you want to add to it?
Nope. I'd rather have a Hulk game on this system.
But yes, Sun and Bone. Again, this looks like Turok. It plays like Turok, but just under a different name. Check it out. Now, guys, that was the trailer for Sun and Bone. Like I said, looks like it plays like Turok, basically a man fighting against dinosaurs. I'm digging it for it to become the PS5. But Joe, what do you think?
Give us Dino Crisis, you cowards.
They'll never give us Dino Crisis.
Also, if it doesn't have the cerebral bore, it doesn't count.
That's the thing. We will let's be honest. We will never get Dino Crisis as much as we should. Dino Crisis was a great game. Will we ever get a remake for it? Nope. I don't know why.
I actually think at some point Capcom will do it because they'll run out of Resident Evils to remake and they won't have a choice.
Fair point, but they're gonna milk Resident Evil. And also, no offense, Resident Evil remake or 4 was great, 2 was great, 3 was great. Don't remake 6. Let 6 die. 6 die. Let 5 remake 5. 5 was great. 6 was terrible. I love 5. 5 was better than 6.
Remake Code Veronica first.
They'll never remake Code Veronica. They literally did
5.
No, they literally did Revelations before they did Code Veronica. That's saying a lot.
They'll never remake 5.
They should. I mean, if you're going to, I mean, you're heading that way.
Oh, I'm not arguing if they should or shouldn't.
Yeah.
I'm just saying they're not going to because there are so many thematic problems with 5 nowadays versus then. Remember, they already had to change a little bit of 5 when 5 was being made because of some of the choices they went with.
Because they did so much quick time events. I'm like, dude, not.
I'm talking about what the enemies look like.
Well, I mean there was that little bit of a problem. There was that problem. For all those
forgot about that, didn't you?
Yeah, I forgot about that. I forgot about that side. The enemies in 5 were a little what's the word I'm looking for?
Mildly offensive to anybody today with anybody's sensibilities.
Thank you.
That's I said, they're not going to touch 5. If they touch 5, then they're going to have to do some.
Oh, there's going to be some heavy remodeling,
big, like overhauling, and they're going to get PC Principal to help them.
Oh yeah, there's going to be some heavy remodeling if they do 5. But getting back to Sun and Bone, guys, like I said before, Turok is another game that we should have another game of. This is probably as close as we're going to get to it. It looks great. It is going to be on PC, but also a PS5 because, like we said, everything's next gen now. Everything is Xbox Series X and PC and PS5 and whatever Nintendo Switch is coming out later on down the pipe this year. We know that's coming. But at this point, everything is next gen. But Sun and Bone looks great. I have no complaints about it. I'm adding that to my games to watch list that's coming out. But you guys let us know in the comments what you thought about Sun and Bone. Like I said before, I thought it was great. Looks like it's going to be worth playing. Another game, however, we do have information about before we get to Ubisoft, because Ubisoft's executives need to be fired. But before we get to that bit of news, Stalker 2 Heart of Chernobyl does have some news regarding its release date. And that right there, folks, is music to my ears. September 5th, 2024. If you've ever played Stalker, it is a first-person shooter, a little bit on the horror side. This is also the Clive Barker Stalker, one of the original PC shooter games. Loved it to death. I cannot wait for 2 because 2 is supposed to be basically a more amped up version of Stalker. If you play games like Metro, you're gonna love Stalker because Metro again is one of my favorite series to play. Stalker's right up there with it, but that comes out September 5th, 2024. So little while to wait because I know we just started 2024 and that's not gonna be out till later in the year, but still I can wait. But Joe, anything about Stalker 2? Have you ever played Stalker 2? Stalker 2? Never?
No. Is that the one with vampires?
No.
No, that's Fear.
That's Fear. Stalker 2 is like Stalker 2 is Metro before it was Metro. So pretty much think of it like Fallout. Think of it like Fallout Russia, but right out of a nuclear facility.
Okay.
I'll put it to you that way. But before we get on, because I wanted to talk about this with you guys and Joe, because Ubisoft, I don't. Okay, let me.
I feel
let me do
like
first.
this. I feel like that before we jump into this, I will preface
for
this entire conversation of I don't feel like this is a company statement, and we shouldn't hold the company accountable for this. I feel like this is one executive saying things he doesn't understand and just going for it or running at the mouth and not realizing something. I'm not trying to like say anything, but I feel like Ubisoft is catching a lot of flack for something one idiot said, and I don't feel like that needs to be the case.
And for all those that don't know what Joe is talking about, an Ubisoft executive literally said this, quote unquote. One of the things we saw is that the gamers are used to a little bit like DVD having and owning their games. That's where the consumer shift needs to happen, because he's pretty much saying to basically get comfortable with not owning your own games. Now, I agree with Joe to a certain extent that yes, it was an executive that said this. It does not reflect on the company. The problem is, when I try to look this up, I don't see Ubisoft coming out there and saying it's just him. It's not how we all feel. That's the one problem I have with this. If you're a company whose lifeblood depends on the fact that you need gamers to buy your games, you have one executive out there that turns around and says gamers need to get comfortable with not owning your own games. Now, me and Joe have talked about this before, that physical media is under attack. It really is. Best Buy has stopped selling CDs and DVDs and things of that nature. Walmart has it. Walmart's actually picked up. But there is a underlying push for everything to go digital. Now, the problem is with digital, we saw this with PlayStation, where a lot of people that had bought certain things on the PlayStation Network, like Discovery episodes, for example, just not too long ago, they were told that the episodes and things that they purchased, they don't have ownership to and could lose it. Now, of course, after a big outcry and a big outburst, Sony turned around and said, "No, we're not doing it. It's not happening. You're good. You're good to keep your stuff." But if you're like me and you're like Joe, where we like physical copies of everything, that is a kind of a warning shot that the industry is trying to shift to digital. And the thing about it is, when you shift to digital, a lot of things come up. Like, number one, if that's the case, the price of your game should not increase if you're going straight to digital, because a lot of it is distribution, a lot of it is manufacturing, and a lot of it's retail. So if you're going straight to digital, you're cutting out a big third of your process. So why your game, if that's the case, your game should still not be $60, $70.
I kind of argue against that. I understand what you're saying, and that makes absolute sense. But we also got to keep in mind that production costs are growing and amassing more and more with how difficult new console things are, new technologies to make games. We got to pay the actors, we got to pay the programmers. Costs are rising above the board across the board. So, like, a AAA is going to be more and more expensive each and every time. Like, what you're saying is absolutely true. That eliminates a good chunk of the market, but that market's value for production is always growing higher and higher, to where even losing that physical side, it doesn't eliminate that cost entirely, I feel like, because of how PS5 games take forever to make now. And I mean, let's look at Final Fantasy Rebirth. That thing is so big, it's now going to take up 2 HD DVDs, right? HD Blu-rays.
HD Blu-rays.
So, HD Blu-rays. So just imagine what the production level cost of a game of that level is.
But at the same time, you can't price gouge your demographics into now cutting back on what games they go for. But real quick, Tafari, movie out my Best Buy now houses extra computer parts. I pre-ordered the deluxe of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and that's my last Best Buy purchase. Yeah.
So, actually, guys, if you really pay attention, look at your Best Buys. They have a lot of their physical media on like hardcore sale to get it out of there. So you can probably find some pretty decent stuff at a really decent price at the moment. So there's that. Also, back to the thing, we got to realize you and I are complaining about $70 games. When we were little, depending on what console and what system and what name, you were still paying $120 for video games sometimes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm not arguing that. It's still it was still 60 or 70 at a young age.
We both were agreeing with everybody with what each other saying. The grand scheme of things. I'm just looking at it from a production cost. You're looking at an advertising side.
But that's but my thing is you're going to. It's almost to a point to where they think that they have enough digital gamers and not like us. We're physical.
Well, they do.
That's the thing. That's what they're betting on. Whereas you're kind of eliminating, I'm not going to say the older generation because some of the new generation likes physical copies too. But when you eliminate the idea of physical copies, you are kind of sitting there giving us the middle finger. You really are. You're saying either go digital or get left behind.
But we're not their primary people anymore. I mean, we got 3 generations where iPads are basically books and music players now. So I mean, like for us, it's the retro, it's the nostalgia factor. For the younger kids, it's the retro thing. But like in the grand scheme of things, the general audience for gamers nowadays, they don't have CD towers or shelf space to put all their physical media. I can't get more books because I'm worried about the structural integrity of my floor caving in.
But the thing is, though, it's just that when you're betting that much, and for a lot of us, I always point out the other side too. See, when you're going digital, I'm not saying it can happen, but the possibility is there. Like, for example, take your PlayStation Plus or your Xbox Game Pass. If you have games you downloaded from those 2 systems, and let's just say you miss a subscription payment, you can be automatically locked out because it's looking for that acknowledgement that your subscription is still active.
Yeah.
Okay. Put that in the same sense for digital purchases. That at that point, like for physical media, we own it. Like no matter what, internet sources or not, we can still play a game because we actually have the physical manifestation of it. Versus digital, my fear is they can always go and say, well, and I say this as a fear. I'm not saying this as an actual thing. I'm saying this as a fear that the live service games that we love to hate may somewhere along the lines become the consoles of the future. And that's my fear.
Yeah. But on the flip side of this, and we're just going to look at it from 2 different perspectives on this thing, but like my also look about it is like after a while, you don't even realize it's gone unless it's something really, really impactful. Like we watch streaming shows almost every single day.
Yeah.
And the moment you finish something, unless it's hugely impactful on you, you're not returning to that anytime soon. And that thing's taken off a streaming platform and you don't even notice. You're on to the next thing.
That's a fair point. It's a fair point. Don't get me wrong. It's a fair point.
They shuffle it around and you just got to find where it is next if you want to watch it again.
Right. But that's the thing about media. It's like either you buy like us in Tafari, because he did say the video I made about empty steel books. These damn Tide Pod eaters don't even realize anything was wrong. He did talk about the Disney collection. He did kind of have a point. The Disney 100 collection went from $30 to $9. Good Lord. It's a very much get it at the fuck of our store sale. You ain't lying.
Look, we've already had people ask us if we were born in the late 1900s.
Yeah.
We're old.
We are old. Don't let limited run games become the only physical distributor, then we're doomed. That's the part I can understand too. But it's just like I said, it's the whole thing of, again, not to get away from Ubisoft. Ubisoft should have actually let out a comment and said that's one person's opinion. That's not the opinion of the company. The fact that nothing has been said since then, that kind of screams volumes.
Do we know which version of Ubisoft it is? Because at this point, it could just be that one studio who just let him say whatever he wants. He's an idiot.
Ubisoft Canada?
Well, there we go. It has nothing. Ubisoft Montreal? Okay.
I mean, Ubisoft Montreal is usually pretty quiet. They don't usually say anything crazy from that side of the pond, but I could be wrong. But no, it's just when you think about that and the fact that, not to make it into a subject of itself, but when physical media is literally becoming a thing of the past, you can't help but guys of our age and genres, we do get somehow worried. And it kind of validates the reason why we stockpile everything. What'd you say, Tafari? Ubisoft is in the office running around like SpongeBob when he forgot his name. Damn.
Also, to Furry's point, I wouldn't actually mind limited run games being a physical distributor. Mm-hmm. The only physical distributor, they give you some really nice add-ons.
That's another part, but it's just the other side. That's the thing I worry about that much. But again, we have to see what happens. Maybe Ubisoft are just going to point this out and say, you know what? It's one executive that's no longer with us, or he doesn't reflect our views. Either way, it is quite concerning. But that's really the news that we have. Joe, do we have anything else before we get to Compools?
No, I mean, there's rumors that the new girl in Doctor Who may only be on for one season, but that's being run by the Mirror, and the Mirror is not the most well-known, useful source of credible information in the UK.
I mean, this season, Doctor Who's going to be nice. That's all I can sit there and say. But again, I have to shout out to David Tennant and Neil Patrick Harris. Thank you for giving us a season, especially Neil Patrick Harris. Good Lord, bring that man back as another character. That's all I ask, because he stole the scene in that one. Way State Safari LRG has their own higher up drama, hence why my Force Unleashed is 2 years late. Yep. Yeah, that is also true, but I don't know when it comes to certain things, it's just I don't get these video game companies outside of a few of them out there that just seem to get it right. But again, we digress. But Joe, I do see you have your comics up, sir. So whenever you're ready. Not the deep breath.
All right, so we're on to comics tonight. We're starting off with Nightwing. If you guys don't understand the meme cover, please go look up Smudgelord. He is an adorable little white cat. This is paying homage to Smudgelord with Nightwing and Robin. This is Nightwing's tie-in to Beast World, which is the current DC Universe event where small versions of Beast Boy Starro is infecting people, turn them into beast animals. Once again, Gail Simone, famed writer of Birds of Prey and other thing, has been turned into a bear. Per John Scalzi's Grizzly Bear short story, Grizzly Bear Crisis Counselor. Please let it also be known if you go to Gail Simone's actual Twitter account, because like famed comic book writer, definitely not a bear.
But still, this story
makes that joke even better thing.
I will say this about this. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yes.
Go ahead, Joe. Before I get my thoughts on this issue.
Okay, so this is written by Tom Taylor and art by Sam Basseri with ink and finishing by Vincent. Can't read, too small. Vincentini Sufantinas. We'll go with that. Colors by Adriano and Lucas. They are pretty much running a infected. Someone's running an infected Starro human fight ring, and Nightwing and John break it up because John's back in the books again, and they have to get Robin / Damien, who's become a cat, which they both find very hilariously fitting. But as you were saying,
Oh no, no, keep going because I was like that part was like of all the things the infection turned him into was Mr. Mittens.
pretty much, Mr. Mittens the combat kitten.
It's still funny, but no, they do actually wound up. It's kind of interesting where you just see Superboy just pull off and say, "We gotta go save Damien," and Superman's like, "We do you not see what's going on right now?" It's like, hey, it's his brother. All right, he's like, it was almost that. All right, go save another Wayne kid, and the thing about it was, I love how Superman wanted to jump in. It's like, no, because we don't know what's going on in this pit. We don't know how this infection will deal with you because if you get infected, we don't got a planet. Nobody is stopping you. but ultimately, they did rescue Damien, who feels very remorseful about it all, but still wants to go back and try to save who he can. While Superboy decides to lift up the entire pit and drop it off at Gotham, and in a way only Superman can. But it's a good issue. I really did like it. I have to go back and go read the other parts of the Beast Wars.
Everybody wants to say Beast Wars. Everybody wants to say Beast Wars.
It's right there, and I can't stop saying it. It's right. It's how is it not? You know what? Let me shut up. I was gonna say, how is that named Beast Wars? Because
yes,
that's
Hasbro still has a license on that.
It should have been called Beast Wars. But anyway, I have to go back and go read the other previous issues because it really is a good issue. And there are some parts that don't make any sense, but you have to actually go back and read the other issues to see it. But this issue of Nightwing was pretty good.
It's okay. Nightwing gets infected in another issue and he turns into a fox, and all three of both Barbara and Starfire is like, well, that figures.
I have to go back and read those other issues. But no, Nightwing was good.
I also like that they uninfect him. It's like, what I turn into? They both go fox, and he's like, yeah, that figures.
Mm-hmm. They were going to tell him the truth.
Next up, we're jumping around today, guys. So, yeah. So next up, we got Marvel. We got Daredevil number 5. This is written by Saladin Ahmed with art by Farid Karami and colors by Jesus Arbertov. This is another thing of Father Matt hanging out in the Marvel Universe, chilling. She-Hulk is in this book very prominently. Basically just doing a food tour with Daredevil. Drawn very, very well and got to be was very popular across several Facebook groups and several Twitter groups because of how well she was drawn in this book. Which, if you know your character, you know how to draw the character, and that makes the character look great. This is just another thing where another person close to Daredevil has been infected by one of the 7 deadly sins. In this case, gluttony, which is why all the eating, and Matt and She-Hulk got to fight, and then Matt's got to exercise.
So that's the thing about it is, can we now say? Because I'm sorry. Before we say that, go on and finish the rest of it before I say that.
No, that's pretty much the book. I'm actually really digging this because I like Matt being an exorcist. This is kind of fun with him being like, he just has to go around like all of his close friends are. I can't wait for Foggy to show up and be Wrath.
So I got to ask this question. So is Matt Murdock Constantine now?
Well, he doesn't have any magical powers. He's just basically saying, "Our Father art in heaven," and that exercises the demon. He has no magical powers.
True, but he is doing an exorcism on the 7 deadly sins, which you're right. I'm kind of curious to see what Foggy's going to be, considering the fact of he's just been released from hell, considering the battle with the hand. But it's interesting because I looked at this, I'm like, you know what? If this is going to be his born again story, I know it's kind of weird that we're talking about born again, and yet the new run of Daredevil, Matt is a born again Catholic priest who doesn't remember he went to seminary, who doesn't remember his training, but remembers going to school, which is interesting. But No, I did like this because again, She-Hulk being possessed by gluttony was interesting, and that Matt performing a on-site exorcism was not on my bingo cards of 2024. But again, it was a good issue.
The other interesting thing is in this book is that She-Hulk remembers who Matt is. And the world at large does not know who Matt Murdock is currently.
Right.
And this is not the first time where like the Hulk seem immune to magical mind erasure things, because when Doctor Strange made the world forget who Spider-Man was, Bruce Banner forgot.
Yeah.
But Hulk did not forget. Hulk was always calling him Peter, and Peter just never realized it until like one was like, wait, you call me? He was like, oh yeah, Banner forgot, but Hulk remembers.
Right.
And She-Hulk's distributing the same thing, where I don't know if I think Jen also probably knows who Matt is, because Jen is more attuned with her Hulk than Bruce is with him. She-Hulk is just more of her, how do I put this? Jen is the introverted side, and She-Hulk is the extroverted version. There's no duality in personas.
Yeah.
It's just one's one side, one's the other side. So Jen is aware of who Matt is, which is very, very important if you think about it in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah. No, you got a fair point. But no, it was a good issue. I did like it. And the fact that Doctor Strange shows up at the end, it's like, we need to talk, sir. I was like, are we finna get a Doctor Strange and Daredevil kind of team up? I'm okay with that.
I'm waiting for him to be Pride.
You think Strange is you? Wait, who's gonna be Pride?
Strange.
I can see that. I can see Strange being Pride.
If not Strange, I don't know of anybody else that would be Pride.
In Daredevil's world? Yeah, that's a good question.
I mean, maybe Bullseye?
I kind of see that more as Wrath. Well, no, Kingpin would be Wrath. Bullseye would be Envy.
Maybe.
Anyway, it's going to be interesting, but I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yep, there it is. All right. Moving on over. Now, we are not looking at the bad Spider-Man book that is out this week, even though the story is not that bad and sets things up. But, we got to look at one bad book this week. This is Jackpot by Celeste Bronfman. Art by Joey Vasquez and Eric Gaster, with colors by Edgar Delgado. All right, so Mary Jane has had these powers for a while now because of goofiness, I think, involving Paul, where if she can slot machine and get powers based off of this and gets her own superhero persona via Felicia, because Felicia just wanted her to chill after losing her kids. It's like, look, you can go to therapy, or you can very aggressively take your frustration out against supervillains. And it's the Marvel Universe, so of course she's going to do the thing, even though they do actually go to therapy. And this book is there, and I think only set up to where we can now have a Black Cat Jackpot book in the future, which they've already announced and show in the back of this book. She-Hulk surprisingly also in this issue. She-Hulk actually,
go ahead.
She made her rounds quite a bit in the Marvel Universe this week. She was in this book. She was in Daredevil. She was in White Widow. She was in her own book. She's in Gang War. A lot of She-Hulk this week. The book is not entirely god-awful. We've read worse. The art is actually very good.
I'm gonna go and say I couldn't finish it. I couldn't. I tried so much. And
I tuned out on the story and just looked at the art midway through.
Because I cannot take Jackpot seriously. Like, maybe it's because of my own bias toward Mary Jane and how she was written in the Spider-Man series, in the Spider-Man story so far. But it's just like, so she left Peter, found the guy, got kids, loses said kids, then gains powers, and calls herself Jackpot. I can't take it. I'm sorry. It's like,
Keep in mind,
So
she
what?
is the third jackpot.
Yes, but it's just I couldn't finish it. It was that bad
Look,
to me. I
we're
couldn't
on
finish
a
it.
clock right now as it is anyways.
Hmm?
Look, we're on a clock right now anyways for Paul to turn into a supervillain. If all these comic book fan theorists are correct, and Paul's last remnant of that actual like due to the start of the series, Paul's just some sort of remnant. It's going to turn
Yeah.
into a villain or something. We don't know.
I just couldn't finish it. It was that. I mean, to me, it was that bad. I just couldn't finish it. I just can't get past that.
It was either this or the Spider-Man book with bad art. So I chose the book with the better art.
I can see that. If you're doing it on art, I understand. Art was fine. Art was great. It was everything else that was good and terrible. But you're right about the art. It's just
Moving
it's
on
just
over,
I
we
can't
got.
get. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it
I'm
was
sorry.
not great to read. No, it's not great to read. Hopefully, the Jed McKay Black Cat and Jackpot book will be much better written. But it's Jed McKay, so I have more trust in him.
True. I'm sorry, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
Next up, we got Invincible Iron Man number 14. This is written by Jerry Dugan with guest star Andre DeVito, coloring by Brian Valencia. And so this is two parts. We actually see that Emma and Tony finally consummate their marriage. Nice for them.
Mm-hmm.
Bravo. Bravo. This is actually really focusing on Forge and Riri as per the last issue, Riri and Forge were given a vast amount of Mysterium, the mutant metal that's resistant to magic and the most precious metal in all of the Marvel Universe, to go take to the Asgardian forging realm where the Forge dwarves are. And they run into a space dragon of Fing Fang Foom's race who just tells them point blank, like, I'm not here to fight you, but you got those rings. I know what they are. Mm-hmm. They will corrupt you. And of course, Riri's immediately ready to blast that dragon and thing. And Forge's like, don't piss off the dragon.
Right. Of all things in Nevervalier, you want to go toe-to-toe with the dragon. Just...
Yes, a giant space dragon in space.
This might want to rethink it. That's all I'm saying. Forge was like, just saying, might want to rethink it. But no, it was interesting.
I do just love things like, how often does this happen to you guys? And Forge is like, do you not know what the X-Men do on a daily basis?
That was funny. But it was interesting, though the first part, Tony has the reoccurring dream that Magneto kills him with his own armor. That part. He's like, I have the same dream where Magneto takes my armor, forges it into a primitive weapon, and stabs me with it. Sir. He's like, I've developed countermeasures. I have technology that protects myself, and this man still stabs me. That's more than a nightmare. That's a scream for help. I mean, really and truly. Just
I do like the rest of the book is just Riri slowly going down the dark path with the Mandarin rings, and Forge like, no, don't kill the dwarves. We need them. They make good ships.
But the dwarves did turn on them. Tried to turn.
Oh yeah, no, the dwarves tried to screw him over. Absolutely, they had that coming, but don't send him to the Shadow Realm.
That was a little extreme, though. I'm not gonna lie. Riri is like, should we just get rid of him? No, just a little bit of mercy, little bit of mercy. You know, maybe get rid of those 10 rings.
Send people to the void.
Mm-hmm. That was the first time. It was
this
like,
is a fun book. I like where this is going.
What did you say, Safari? Get Tony some melatonin. His HMU United made Ultron. Yep. I mean, in the MCU, you're right. It did lead to Ultron, but I mean, when you have the reoccurring nightmare that Magneto kills you, that man lives in your head rent free. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I mean, I run around in a suit of metal. I mean, no, Victor probably doesn't have that problem. He's probably like magically guarded from his abilities.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think Victor has that. I'm about to say Victor doesn't have that problem, but Tony, that ain't his Freddy Krueger. But overall, it was a great issue.
Mm-hmm. Next up, we get X-Men number 30. This is written by Jerry Dugan with art by Phil Noto. Meaning for Joe, it doesn't matter what the story is. It was an automatic buy. More stuff involving Cyclops where he has a psychic night with Jean Grey. We'll just go with that.
Pretty much. Yeah, let's
where
leave
Jean's
it
like,
that.
I'll be back in a bit. Jean, for me, that's just me. That's just me with Jean going to like, yeah, I'll be back in a bit.
It's like, I am the fire.
And then Talon and Sync go to get something back from the High Evolutionary that they turned down initially, but now they want to fight Orchis, and High Evolution is like, no, you got to live through our next encounter. That was the payment for little Sync's blood. Like, we're square. Now you're stealing from me.
Yeah.
One of the X-Men die, but Sync saves them through bizarre means. Good issue. This one kind of feels like filler. I mean, it does lead to the whole fall of the House of X, rise of the powers of X, but kind of like it's like very like fringe connection at the moment.
Yeah, but that scene with the High Evolutionary and what he did to said person, and other said person had to resort to drastic measures. Wow.
I mean, you guys say the High Evolutionary isn't a threat. It's like, no, he is.
Oh, he's a threat. He's a threat with extreme prejudice. I'll leave it at that.
I also like that they actually made a barter treaty with the elephant animal man.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, yeah, sure, we'll talk it out.
Hey, there are some animals that did go against the High Evolutionary. I was expecting to see I was really expecting to see a raccoon deviant. I'm not gonna lie. I
think there was one, but it may have been a ring-tailed lemur.
Yeah.
Possibly. Nope. Good book. Again, continues the X-Men storyline. Again, this does tie in to follow the House of X, but this is like a very fringe issue that just kind of sets up the story as we go along. The biggest connection is the Cyclops stuff in the front and some of the Starfire stuff where she's like, get me the hell out of here.
Oh, yeah, she's ready to bolt. I had never seen someone ready to bolt. She's like, when can I leave? Because they're already suspecting me. But overall,
we'll kill all the mutants, but not you. We like you.
Yeah, that ain't weird at all.
That's concerning. All right, so we got new book this week, Cobra Commander, written by Joshua Williamson, with art by Andrea Molina and cards by Annalisa Leone. So I will preface this. This is part of the Cybertronian universe. As you can see, the arc crashing right here. Also, I do have to preface this. If you've seen the 86, 87 G.I. Joe movie, you will actually have foreknowledge of what happens in this because they lean very heavily on that origin story from Cobra Commander, from the original old G.I. Joe movie. So, this is before Cobra Commander sets up Cobra. We see many years ago, he was a scientist, scientist/guard, or maybe a guard of the science cells, were the people of Cobraopolis.
Yeah.
Or no, Cobra Law. Guys, we got to deal with these things.
Cobra Law.
Cobra Law are trying to overrun a science cell. And Cobra Commander, who is just a nameless guard at this point, it's like, well, we're scientists. We can repel these guys. Everybody throw your spore bombs. And one of the scientists is like, should I throw it now? Goes off. He recovers. We get a cameo from Pythona. I had to look up who is the Emperor was because I kept thinking it was Serpentor. It's like, he comes later. Serpentor comes later.
It's
Globulus.
Globulus is the name you're looking for. It was different. Don't get me wrong. It was different because it took me a while. I'm like, y'all are focusing a lot on the origin story they're trying to tell. But at the very end, I'm like, okay, I get it. I get where you're trying to say at this point, and I'm not going to really spoil that part because it does tie into what they're trying to do. But it makes sense as you get toward the end of the issue because a lot of it was like, I was trying to praise you. This was done. This was done for the advancement of Cobra Law. I wasn't trying to be this guy, but now that you said it, now I gotta be him. So it took a while. It was kind of it started to head toward long storytelling, but I was like, okay, it did make sense at the end.
Yes, I read this as a very good book. I will be subscribing probably exclusively to Cobra Commander over Duke. I find that this tale will be a bit more fun, also because I really don't need another rendition of A-Team. I want to see how Cobra gets built. I want to see why he adopts the ruthless coward persona to run an organization, because who he gets his technology and information from is a very interesting source. And honest to God, I would not mind that being in the movies going forward, now that we have G.I. Joe officially crossing over with Transformers in the movies circa Rise of the Beasts.
Yeah.
I absolutely have no problem saying it's like, oh, this is where he's been the whole time.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because he's playing the long game on this.
I mean, but it would fit in. It would fit in. I mean, well, you are exactly right. It would fit in post Rise of the Beast. So I wouldn't be against that with whatever. Well, once Hasbro actually does, hopefully, I would say hopefully because the source material is there, but we will see.
No, but this was actually really good. I applaud them for rewarding our generation who saw that 86, 87 movie and doing a good job of just reinventing Cobra Commander for this day and age as more a competent leader, but I want to see why he plays the ruthless coward.
Right. Makes sense.
And then the other top book of the night, because we can't go without saying it, Wonder Woman #5, written by Tom King with art by Dan Semper and colors by Tomed Mori. If you've seen this picture, this explains why this is Joe's favorite book of the night, because all the Wonder Girls are there and Yara Flor's in it.
Yeah.
Joe likes Yara Flor. This was a fantastic book. Pretty much Wonder Woman gathers all the Wonder Girls and goes like, I don't want you to be a part of this. We're going to do this by tradition. Everybody pick a way. We'll fight. And if I win, you stay out of it. If I lose, you can come with.
That part.
Donna picks something different. Yara picks arrows. And Cassie picks arms, which leads to arm wrestling.
Pretty much.
Meanwhile, Sergeant Steel is gathering Wonder Woman villains.
But you gotta love how Diana just beats everybody. But the last one was surprising. I'll just leave it at that. The last challenge was surprising how she beat her. Because she thought she had her beat. She's like, you've never trained in this. You underestimated a true Amazon. That was your downfall.
So, as I said, we'll go ahead and say what it is, because so Yara challenges the bow and arrow contest. So they keep firing arrows at each other until one of them hits each other. Yeah. Cassie goes with arm wrestling because she is given the strength of Zeus by Zeus.
Right.
So theoretically, she is as strong as Diana, but Diana's just a wee bit stronger. Diana challenges her to, I guess, Injustice 3, because Connor and Damian are in the game as playable characters.
That part was funny. And for her to turn around and say, well, you never played video games, so how would you be able to do this? Because I studied your friends. And because I studied your friends, I also played this game. And decided
her thing was like, I run around with Superman and Batman, and I think it's like Batman plans and has contingencies and whatnot, meaning you're going to try and set up things, whereas Clark will just come in there and punch things.
But he holds back.
But he holds back.
But he holds back. Yeah, that's what it was. He holds back, even though he could destroy you, but he holds back. And she goes, unlike the two of them, if they ever did decide, this is what you say, if they ever did decide to no longer be held by their limitations, they'd be dangerous. But then again, so am I. And makes her rage quit. That was funny. The whole rage quitting, thinking you beat Diana, was still funny to me. But yes, the Sovereign is basically going around recruiting an army. And of course, all three Wonder Girls are like, yeah, we know we swore we wouldn't get into this, but bump that, you need help.
Well, as it says here, F oaths, F the gods, F tournaments.
Yeah, they
you want us to let you face this alone? F that too.
Yeah, so I gotta give it to them. It's like, we're not gonna let you take on the Sovereign and his army by yourself. So I get that. I the whole F the gods, F the O's. I was like, are we going full on Game of Thrones here? Just straight out Oathbreaker on all three of them. This
is why Yara is my favorite.
But it's cool though. Even though Diana did beat them all in 3 contests, but hey, who's counting? But no, this does set up for the eventual meetup between the armies. Again, it's probably one of the better Wonder Woman runs so far that I like.
And definitely the most gorgeous. Like Daniel Sampere, he is the gold standard for comic book art over in DC right now. Like him and Jamal Campbell. The reason we did not look at Superman tonight, guys, is because I don't care about cowboys.
I tried reading it. It's
It's gorgeous to look at. It's Royal Witten, but I don't care about Western comics. Also, note that in Diana's apartment, she has a little picture of that kid from issue 4 in the background, sitting in her apartment.
The one boy that was allowed the mascara. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Nope, that's right. We also get a wonderful little thing of John, Damian, and Trinity in the backup story, where they are racing kangaroos, and Trinity pushes Jumpa Jr. a little bit too hard and nearly falls to her doom, and the boys are freaking out, and it's like, you're Superman, you're supposed to save her. It's like, but you're Batman, you should have had a plan for this.
That was still funny.
And then just like, we're both dead if Diana learns. It's like, agreed. None of us speak of this ever again.
Yeah, because nobody wants to wind up on the other end of an Amazonian blade.
Nobody wants to wind up on the other side of an angry Wonder Mom.
That too, but no, it was a good side story.
Yep, that's all the books for the week. Go read your Wonder Woman. Go read your Cobra Commanders. Stay away from Jackpot or anything that says gang war involving Spider-Man.
I mean, that is beyond a given at this point. But anyway, but we do also thank you for that, Joe. We do also want to shout out Rick's Comic City, voted Nashville's #1 place for comic books. So if you are in the Middle Tennessee area, definitely check them out at the locations, either in Nashville or Clarksville, Tennessee, or Locker Nerd in Fort Campbell. You can also go to the website at rickscomiccity.com where you can get your trades, hardcover, comic books, gift cards, things of that nature, pull lists. You can definitely look it up from either or. Let them know that we sent you. It doesn't get you any discounts, but at the same time, we want to show love to them because they show love to us. If you're not in the Middle Tennessee area, definitely support your local comic book stores. Shop local. I know Barnes & Noble and Amazon are all great places to shop, but comic book stores in your cities need help. They need your patronage. You can find such great things that you may not find anywhere else at a probably better price. So again, support your local comic book stores, support your local libraries. Why? Because they're trying to ban books. Kids, I cannot stress this enough. We want you to read the banned books because there's something in them that they don't want you to know that you really should know. A lot of books that are great for literature, not just comic books, are great for learning. So as me and Joe say here on Get Bit all the time, definitely, guys, read the banned books. And of course, if you are in Middle Tennessee area, definitely check out Rick's Comic City. If you're not in Middle Tennessee area, support your local comic book stores, support your local libraries, read the banned books. That is all we ask of you guys, because there's such great stuff in there. But as we wrap this up, guys, Joey, anything you want to let people know about that you're going to be saddling up
I
for?
am still moving forward with content on that new channel, Show a Guy Joe. I just dropped a short. It's about they finally started filming Boom Boonger. The moon boots are still weird, and the low tiny weirds on the back of the shoulder are super weird. But you know what? It hopefully it'll look really nice in motion.
So funny.
I'm at least gonna get the morphers for both.
It's still we
other
showed
than
this
that, I
last
streamed
week.
a little bit of Ghostbusters.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, this
I'm
is
sorry,
a new
go ahead.
picture. Let me see if I can bring it
It's a
up.
Oh Lord.
This is a brand new picture. Let me see if I can't pull it up.
Because I'm like, we showed this last week. I think we showed this last week, and I'm still laughing about it. It's just wow. I did not think from a Power Ranger standpoint it could get any different, but wow. That's about the best way I could put that is wow. But at the same time, I'm not surprised about it. I mean, well, think about it. Well, there's been stranger Sentai costumes. There's been stranger ones. It's just that one, I'm not gonna lie, that's a nightmare fuel.
It's just one of those I can't find anymore. It was on Twitter. It's just one of
don't worry
those
about
things of now that they're no longer beholden to making Super Sentai into Power Rangers, they're just gonna go as far left field as they can. And I am there for it. But God, I hope these suits look great in motion, because like still photos are just like, God, this looks scary.
I'm still gonna check out that Garo, but yes, Show a Guy Joe is where you can find Joe. Are you still doing anything on the Twitch side, sir?
Yeah, I mean, like I actually streamed with the Tennessee Ghostbusters doing the Ghostbusters game not too long earlier this week. Once things calm down, I'll probably be able to stream a little bit more. I'll try and stream some of the Yakuza here and there.
Nice. I gotta finish The Man Who Erased His Name. I've really got to finish that. Okay, so before I'm sorry, Joe. Were you done, or are you still letting me?
No, that was it.
Okay, just want to make sure. So before I get to my stuff, shameless plugging as we usually do here, guys. I do always want to shout out a couple of friends that support the show as well as everybody else. My buddy Yvonne, Big VZA Dot, definitely check him out, Big VZA Dot on social media, and check out his Beats channel on YouTube. So if you do like beats or need beats for anything entertainment wise or song wise, definitely check him out at Big VZA Dot on all social media. And of course, guys, myself, where you can find me, BlackFox447 on all socials. I usually do reviews on everything, including gym stuff, because I do a couple push-ups. At the same time, guys, definitely check out the link at the bottom, make that a little bit bigger for everybody to see. If you copy and paste that link into your browser, check the link to the YouTube and Facebook groups for all of our podcasts. How the Fact got here, Get Bitten Off List podcast. Definitely check all of those things out. We would certainly appreciate it. We can be found practically everywhere, guys. Anywhere podcasts can be seen or heard. Google Podcasts for the time, because I think that's about to go out the window. But we can be heard on Spotify. We can be eventually heard on Apple Podcasts. We're getting to that point. Just got to get that figured out first. At the same time, guys, you can see us here on YouTube and on Facebook and on Twitch, as we are all currently streaming across all platforms. I do want to point out another part that I'm involved with others, basically called Blurred Station. What is Blurred Station, guys? Blurred Station is basically for those of people of color and for blurs and for nerds. It has action, it has comics, it has anime, it has so many things there that is basically becoming a Netflix of itself. But much like Netflix, guys, it is not going to jack up the prices. It is not going to remove and add content. It is definitely something for us, because if you haven't heard by now, Tubi is worth a lot of money, because a lot of black creators and POC creators really made to be what it is. But the problem with that is a lot of those creators don't have access or don't have ownership of their own content. And basically, they made the guy who owned Fox rich. Blur Station is definitely not like that. If you do have content that you want to bring, definitely go to the FAQ portion of Blur Station, and the guys there will definitely get you on that level to where not only can your content can be shown, but at the same time you get to own it. We won't, and thank you, Tafari. We won't do you like Max did rap shit. If you don't know what I'm talking about, well, don't go on Max looking for rap shit. You're going to be disappointed. But anyway, if you want to join Blur Station, definitely go to the Join Now option that's currently showing there. If you'll do us all a favor and go to Blurred's Eye View Affinity Membership, once you click on that, you can select any Affinity Influence partner there. We all would appreciate that. And select the Affinity Membership at $10.99. Yes, $10.99 a month. At $10.99 a month, guys, you can still have access to great content and still be able to eat. I don't know about you, but that sounds like a winner to me. Now, with that Affinity Membership, guys, for 36 months of paying $10.99 a month, at those 36 months, you have the option of owning a share of Blur Station. Again, you ever want to own a share of Amazon, of Netflix, of things of that nature, without going through E-Trade, without going to Fidelity Investments and paying an assload amount of money for simply a simple share of said product. Whereas on Blur Station, you can just pay $10.99 a month for 36 months. And again, have that option. Sounds easier to me. But then again, it is something that's for us. Content creators, you are more than welcome because at the end of the day, you'll be able to keep ownership of it and get paid. I don't know about you, but that sounds like a winner. But definitely check out BlurStation.com. Now, as we are wrapping up, guys, again, we will hopefully be back here next Friday, same Get Bit time, same Get Bit channel, with news, video game news of the week, trailers of the week, our opinions on a lot of things. But above all else, guys, let me say this correctly because Mother Nature is mad. I don't know where you are, but where me and Joe are, it's more ice and snow. Please be careful, guys. Please be careful while you're out there, while you're driving. Not only because of the weather, but health as well. Cold and flu season is still strong. Please be careful. That's all we ask. So, with that being said, guys, as we've called tonight, Joe, any last words you have for us, sir? As you're muted.
No, I'm gonna go get more tea.
More tea. More tea sounds great. But anyway,
I'm slowly becoming a Guiro. I'm more tea than man now.
Then unless you start singing, we're all going to start having tears in our eyes. But with that being said, guys, we do thank you all for watching. Playback.
You will, but for wholly different reasons.
Playback will be next. Playback will be this Saturday, guys. Again, we want your opinions on everything we talked about. Like I said, as we close this, guys, Get Bit is all about fandoms. We love them. We share them. We want to encourage them. Guys, don't be a toxic gatekeeper. Don't simply put down somebody because their fandoms are different than yours or tastes are different than yours. Love them, acknowledge them, share them, talk about them. But don't be a dick about it. That's all we ask. That being said, guys, we are definitely out of here. Take care of yourselves and each other. Hopefully we'll get through all this. We'll see you guys next Friday. Peace.